Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. With your host, Berzerker, this is Unshackled Fury.
It's Super Sunday. Love is in the air. And everyone's going wild down at the trading post. So welcome back to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berzerker. This is episode 121. And on today's show, we're talking about the recently launched trading post feature, all the goodies contained therein, or not. Some great storytelling by the new creative team, and what's coming down the road. The already launched 10.0.7 PTR, including an item I'm probably hoping too much is true. But first, wanted to welcome you back to this show and just give a quick scheduling update. December and January are typically brutal months around the Berzerker household. So there is a distinct lack of content typically during those times. But we will be back on a regular schedule every other week. Come hell or high water, we're going to make this work. So thanks for sticking around. And hopefully we'll be a little bit more well-behaved. I don't need any visits from management right now. So we'll do our best. But wanted to thank you all as well for tuning in to the live show that we did on Twitch. Had I thought a pretty good turnout. Honestly, for me, we'd had 2-3 people, I would have been happy in the chat. And we pulled double digits at a couple of points. I was pretty happy. It wasn't the complete disaster that I was afraid it might be. I did worry here and there that something was going to shut down. Something was going to happen. Nothing was going to work right. And honestly, after all the bullshit, it kind of worked out okay. A lot of that I do think is thanks in large part to my guest, Allie. You're a phenomenal guest. You're a great host, but you're also a great guest. And I think having Allie on the show, sort of to hold my hand and carry me along, that helped out quite a bit. So I hope to do that, I think I was saying once a quarter, probably looking at maybe mid-April, maybe that Saturday before Easter Sunday. That might be the next show. I'm going to throw a dart at that date and see if that's something that we'll do there. But we're gonna keep that train rolling. I do think overall it was a positive experience, so we'll do that. And furthermore, you may or may not notice this. I don't know, some behind the scenes shit if anybody cares. This show is going to be recorded a little more live anyway. I got all this fancy new fucking equipment that I wanted to get for the compound here. And so these shows are going to be fairly live at this point. I've got all my recording equipment here. The music you're hearing, I'm hearing it at the same time. Sound effects, music, everything. I'm doing this more like the live radio show that I always wanted to do. So you'll probably hear a little more ums and ahs and fuck ups and things here and there. But that's the next stage of this show, I think, that I really wanted to get into, is having to go back and edit stuff. You have more control, certainly, over the product that you're putting out. But I was raised on the radio. What can I say? And I think that's more of the vision that I've always had for this, is doing more of a live style radio show. So that includes all the errors contained therein, and hopefully some good stuff as well. So you may or may not notice that as it comes through, but just as kind of a, I don't know, how the sausage is made comment. There you have it. But yes, thank you all for tuning into Twitch. Overall, very positive reception to that. And we will certainly do that again. I also want to make note of a show that I was a guest on recently with a good friend of ours, Jay, who you may know formerly as Frasley, invited me on her new show, Crossed Wires, with her co-host James, and we sat down. It was a little while ago that we had this discussion, but the episode should be launching the same day that this episode launches, so that'll be Monday, the 13th of February. And in it, we talked a lot about the importance of MMO communities, our history in Warcraft, and why all of that has been so important to us, what role that plays in our lives. And I thought we all had a great conversation. I always love seeing her and talking to her. Jay, as you know, has had an incredible journey in her own right, and is so amazing to watch her life really unfold in the way that it has recently. And in this episode, there was a special announcement of sorts that I was genuinely touched to be there to witness. And so if you happen to listen to this, Jay or James, thank you both again for having me there, not just for that moment, but for everything else. And I'd love it if you download the episode and check it out. I think we had a great conversation. One more item that I wanted to touch on before I get to this week's Rage segment is that I had teased for months, since July 1st of last year, that there was something that I was doing, some project that I was working on, something going on out there that I didn't want to talk about. I was waiting to talk about it, and here and there, drips and drabs, trying to keep it going, but keep it secret. And if you saw on Twitter, you know what it is. But if you don't follow me there or don't look at that pile of shit out there, then here's the deal. Since July of last year, and now completed, I have been working on a tattoo sleeve on my right arm. It is essentially a cyberpunk themed sleeve. It's based off of the Arasaka arm, if you know what that is, from Cyberpunk 2077. It's not necessarily like a tribute to the game. It's more about my connection to the genre. As somebody who, and I had a Reddit post that I put up about this, which I'm never on Reddit, but there's a community there that I felt would be kind of the best place for me to put this out as those that may understand. My connection outside of World of Warcraft, I love it very much, but going older and deeper, as I said to Jez Corden when he was on the show, my connection to Cyberpunk, the themes of Cyberpunk, go way old, very deep for me. Going back to the first movie I think I ever saw was Tron. It's the first movie I ever remember. Through Blade Runner and different generations of that. Even stuff like Knight Rider, and some of the anime that I saw in the 80s. Right, the 80s was a real big time for this kind of aesthetic. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. There's some other family stuff on here, but overall, very happy with how it turned out. My artist, Jesse Allison at Emerald Tattoo in Roseville, California. If you're ever looking for somebody that does some insanely good work and you're in the area or you can travel to the area, he's your guy. I'll be honest, I don't even think this is his best work. Some of the work I've seen, color realism, black and gray, he really just, I'm in awe of these artists and how they do it. But for myself, his ability to take the idea that I had and translate it to a very wonky shape, right? Because the arm, when you think about it three-dimensionally, it's kind of a strange thing to do an art project around, but he crushed it, and I love it. It's mostly black and gray with some red here and there. It looks like I've got, cables running underneath my arms and some other stuff. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it turned out great. So that's it. That's the product. That's the project that I've been working on since July of last year. It took about 28 hours total time in the tattoo chair over 7 sessions. So it wasn't quick and it wasn't cheap. But I feel like I certainly got my money's worth. And, you know, if you've ever thought about getting a tattoo, whether it was a gigantic project like this or even just a smaller one, and if in particular the thought of, oh my God, it's the most painful thing, I cannot imagine this, honestly, you'll get through it. You'll get through it. If that has ever held you back from wanting to get some sort of tattoo, don't let it. Don't let it. And I heard this from people before. They're like, man, if you waited because you're, you know, worried about how much it's going to like kill you, don't be worried. It's survivable. You can talk through it. Are there some spicy spots? Yeah, I mean, I'd say the elbow, the point of the elbow, that was a little spicy. The inner arm, parts of it were a little spicy, but nothing you can't handle. Anybody, if I can handle it, anybody can handle it. And you just have to give yourself over to it, accept that, you know, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is going to be happening. The needle only goes, you know, a millimeter deep, or how it's not even, it feels worse than it really is. And I think just sort of, I don't know, logicking yourself through it, you'll be fine. So there you go. That's the big news. That's a big project. That's what I've been working on. So got a rage topic now that I think is something that a lot of people can relate to. It's not necessarily, it's not a video game item, but it is something very real in all of our lives that I think deserves some attention. So let's get into it.
Let's rage.
So I assume, unless I have some nudists in my audience, you wear clothes and you have to shop for them. Or people have to shop for you, for them. And I'm sure that my listening audience runs the gamut. I'm sure all of you run the gamut in terms of your sizes. Everything from small to however many X is your jam. For myself, I've comfortably been in the 2X category, I don't know, since time immemorial. Probably the last century, even. But I can't tell you how many times shirts do not fit. And it's not that it's because I'm too fat. Sometimes it's the shoulders. Sometimes it's the arms. All right, sometimes it is the stomach. But it seems like almost every shirt I buy is the wrong size, but never in the same way. Who are these shirts for? I don't know. Who are the models that they're basing these things off of? I don't know. If you're a 2X, I assume that you are built a little heftier, right? Like me. I assume if you're a clothing manufacturer, the model that you're using cannot be the shoulder width that I am, but the, I don't know, waistline of a medium. But these things are always the wrong size, and it doesn't make any sense. No matter where I go, online, in person, I look at it, I go, this is good. I might have to stretch it out a little bit. And then other times I'm like, well, maybe I got to go up a size, and it's way too big. I can't go down a size. There's no way. I haven't fit into a single X since, I don't know, the Clinton administration. But it is so frustrating that no matter where I go, I feel like I must have the oddest body shape of all time. And I know that that's probably not true. Maybe you're out there and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm a medium. My shirts always fit. I always have a problem just getting the right, you know, they run out of stock because they're so popular. Well, fuck you. I mean, good for you. That's fantastic. What's that like? I don't know. I will never know. I mean, maybe I'll know, but not at this stage. Clothing retailers, listen up, because I know you all listen to Unshackled Fury religiously. You have got to better understand your big person audience. In this case, big man audience. I'm not a 3X. I'm not a single X. I'm a 2X. You got to make a cut that works for the big fellas and the big gals and the big folks. All the folks. Do better. We'll put you on blast here again. The scourge of the ill-fitting shirts. But folks, I've scouted ahead, and I've got some news on that front for you that I'd like to share. Some big news coming out of Bonus Roll. Why don't we go ahead and jump into our news? At this point, you're like Berzerker. You're raging about fucking shirts, man. Talking about Bonus Roll. What do you got going on? Well, depending on what time you listen to this show, if you're in the earlier morning on Monday, the 13th, I may be getting ahead a little bit of the brand new, about to be announced or was just announced, Bonus Roll merch store. So in the past, I have been asked by people, hey, do you sell Unshackled Fury shirts? And I always had to say no, because I made a one-off run once for Nav and I, and that was kind of it, because making shirts is expensive, and I don't know, I don't want to bilk you people out of your hard-earned cash to wear my, dumb show stuff, but people apparently want to, because I've been asked about this on more than one occasion. And now you're going to get your chance, because Bonus Roll has, or is just about to launch, our shop page. It's going to be through Etsy. And on it, I have personally selected for you 3 shirts, 3 designs. You have a long sleeve, a short sleeve, and for the Suns Out, Guns Out crowd, I do have a tank top. Got a couple shirt colors. Not too many, because I don't know. I didn't feel like it was representative of the brand to have too much on there. So I apologize in advance if there are colors that you want and are not available. And I'm so fucking basic that I basically just pick, black and gray and blue and stuff like that. But it did. And those options are out there for you. It does feature the wonderful show art by Copperbolt, my wonderful graphic artist. Her art is prominently featured. We have the helm on the front chest, and then the Unshackled Fury logo with the helm on the back. And, cost-wise, you're looking at $35 for a long sleeve shirt. What's your short sleeve? The tank top is $21.50, and the short sleeve is $24.50. And I think there might be some shipping in there. But if you have ever wondered, Berzerker, where's your stuff? Then, well, there it is. And we should have a link on there. I'll promote it around there, but it's on Etsy. It's Bonus Roll Productions. It should all be through there. And here's the scouting report that I promised for the shirts. Fellas, big fellas, the 2X on a t-shirt, it's a little tight. So I'll give you that. These are the thinner, lightweight, softer shirts. I know these are very popular with a lot of people. I will tell you, with the big guys, it can be a little problematic depending on the cut. So you may want to size up. I'll just say it. You may want to size up. They are super comfortable. I did order one, and they're soft and they are as advertised. But they, little slim around the middle, but overall, nice shirt, nice shirts. All the shows are there. And if you really want to go deep, baby, we got stickers. You want some stickers? You want an Unshackled Fury sticker? You always wanted to put an Unshackled Fury sticker on your laptop or your water bottle or anything like that? By golly, have at it, because we have a few. You can get the logo, or you can get the helmet, and you can stick it all over town. Rest assured, if and when we have a BlizzCon, I will be buying some sticker packs and sticking that shit all over the place so people will be like, Unshackled Fury, what's Unshackled Fury? And then they'll have no choice but to go check it out. And it'll drive up my listener numbers at least for 1 week. So there you go. Big announcement on the bonus roll side. We have a merch store officially. And there is, if you look down there, there is a jersey for $1,000. These are staff jerseys. I don't suggest that you spend $1,000 on them. I think there may be some, interest in finding out if people really want these things as a whole, then maybe we'll sell them. I think it's like a special deal, but I do have one. Did have to buy a 2X and then a 3X, and the 3X is still a little tight because I think it's a cycling jersey. But, we're on the diet train these days. Maybe before BlizzCon, because we're all trying to look, sexy and trim. We'll get there. But at any rate, Bonus Roll Productions, Etsy merch store. Go check it out. Support the cause. Full transparency, if you buy a shirt, I think I'm supposed to get some small cut of it. But at this point, I'm just trying to give it back to Bonus Roll so they can put it into the infrastructure. Because I've always said I'm not trying to make any money off this show. And that continues through to this day. Now, I'll be honest with you. If they start paying me $1,000 an episode, I'll probably be dumb to turn down that kind of fucking money. But until that day, just going to try to pump it all in. So, if you're thinking, oh, Berzerker, this is just a money marketing scheme. It might be for somebody else, but it is not me. There you go. Please, go check out the store. Support the team. A lot of great shows here. Everything from Hearth Casual, Realm Maintenance, Girls Gone Wild, Technically PvP, or Azeroth and others. Get all your gear there. So, Bonus Roll merch store up now, depending on when you listen to this show. Next up, last time when we had the live show, patch 10.0.5 was about to go live, and in it we had all the usual rigmarole. White and gray transmog. I think honestly, that seemed to be the thing that ended up getting most people excited at first. I know Allie out there was very happy. Had an ensemble out there on Twitter getting a lot of love, and she even said here on the show, and that she was very excited about it. And I haven't quite looked through all of my stuff yet to see what I got back that I either forgot about or lost or something like that. So we'll see if that hits for me. But really, the real star of this patch is what finally went live not quite 2 weeks ago. The trading post. Right up. Hitch a ride to the trading post and see what they got. Well, in this first month, here's kind of the lay of the landscape we have, generally speaking. You can receive 2,000 trading tenders, the currency that you need to buy things from the trading post, for logging in, for having Dragonflight, for doing the initial quest line and doing activities. So theoretically, you can get up to 2,000 trading tenders just this first month. And I think it's only 1,000 for every month after that. As a hot tip, I don't remember this guy before. I don't remember this ever happening before, being available before, but behind the trading post, there is a transmog guy, one of these, ethereal dudes. It's also a vendor, Warp Weaver Taxos. So you can go over there and do transmog. But Warp Weaver Taxos sells some gear, including some items missing from gear sets of the past. And for me, I was very excited to see that the belt from the red Ice Crown Citadel plate set, it was the Heroic 25 version. The belt wasn't officially part of that set, and it was very hard to come by. Well, guess what? You can get it from that guy, and it's cheap as shit. There's a bunch of other pieces there. I think they probably understood, hey, people have these full sets, but they're missing a piece that's out there somewhere, and for whatever reason they they distributed the gear the way they did when they did it. Now they're kind of trying to make up for it. There are also beanies. This guy sells beanies. The Jay the Bard crowd should be very happy that there's beanies. But at the trading post, looking to get traders tenders. Traders tenders. I'm not calling them tendies. I cannot call them tendies. I know it's like the thing, but it's too twee for me. Can't do it. So the traders tender, and this month, and I suppose every month, if you complete activities, and so if you go into your adventure guide, there's a new tab once you do the intro quest line for the trading post. There'll be a new tab that'll give you activities to do to earn up to, it's like 1,000 credits. And if you fill up that month, you will get some sort of a special reward. For this month, the special reward is a modified, kind of buffed out, armored out spectral tiger, Ashidar, Harbinger of Dawn. What a badass name, Harbinger. Anytime you use Harbinger, it's like, oh, shit's about to go down. So if you complete your traveler's log and get your 1,000 points, that will be awarded to you. Theoretically. We'll get back to that. This month, they have a variety of items available to you, as will be every month. Kind of a little bit of something for everybody. You gotta fill up the 1,000 points to get your spectral tiger. Well, at least this version of it. You've got to get the one-handed flail. So there's the one-handed flail that is like the Firelands, Firelords looking thing. Now, I there was about to be a raid segment because, once again, not being able to use one-handed transmog when you have two-handed weapons is killing me for warriors. There's so much good transmog, one-handed transmog. I do not want to have to go single-minded fury to be able to use it, but that is a badass flail and it looks amazing. I love the flails. Get some big ones. It's a fucking gigantic two-handed flails. We'll be in business. But overall, lots of variety. There's a little Gorlock pet, whatever he is, little ogre guy. There's the wrist corsage. There's a black dress. There's a cloak. All these things. A little bit of something for everybody, which I think is the right move, because there's a lot of different kinds of players that want a lot of different kinds of things. I think the interface is great. Super user-friendly. Very straightforward. You got points or tenders. Here's how much everything costs. A little preview of what it looks like. Nice and big on the screen. Just even like it clicks nice and feels nice, right? On the first day, it was a little crowded getting there, at least in Stormwind where I was, and people were mobbed all over the main NPCs you had to talk to. So that was it's a little problematic. But it was good to see people excited and people jammed in one place at least, because that's, God, if they launched it and it was dead, whoa, that would be bad news. But it wasn't all good. There was some bad news. I did not experience this, thankfully, but I know that there are people who weren't getting rewards, so they filled up their 1,000 points, but did not get their Ashidar Spectral Tiger mount. Some people were not getting their appropriate number of tenders. There were issues here and there about refunds and the amount that people were getting, or they were getting too much, and it does sound like there was some chaos, and this feature might have just been a little undercooked. It's a wonderful feature, and I really love how it's coming together. And as I think what they call an evergreen feature, right? Something that's going to be around for a long time, something that every month something that Wowhead's going to put on their front page, and everyone, thumb through, that's good, or whatever. I don't know, nothing for me this month. I'll hold on to my points and save them up for whenever. I like all of that, but it does feel like it needed, maybe, I think they announced it. They might have known they had an issue. spent that extra week probably jamming on it, I probably could have waited until 10:07, and I think we would have been okay. But they're out there, they're fixing it up, trying to kind of wrap it around the back end to shore it up and make it work the way it's supposed to. And I'm okay with that, honestly. I don't think anyone's going to live or die based on that, because overall, it's a great addition. Transmog is something that people love. Getting mounts, getting pets, all that stuff. The non-progression stuff, people love. I mean, it is widely one of the most popular features that World of Warcraft has ever had. When Transmog first got announced, great joy across the land. And expanding that feature as much as possible is something that everybody, I think, can agree on is a good thing. This is a great avenue to do it. I know there's comparisons to a battle pass or something about logging in. I don't know. I don't understand it. This doesn't cost me anything. I already pay for a subscription that I do for all my... Basically, I'm paying to raid. I think that's kind of how my mind looks at it. So this is all extra fun stuff. But tenders for money, I think that's the concern. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. I think if you have to start paying for stuff, just put it on the store. We already have a store, like a real money store. This is supposed to be in-game with in-game stuff and in-game activities. I don't see it. And to help sort of explain their thinking, their thought process behind that, there was a really good interview recently between the development team who worked on the trading post and the community council. Remember the community council? They're still out there. Shout out to Manny over at For Azeroth, who is still part of the community council. Got to ask some great questions on this, and they had a chance to dive deep into sort of the philosophy behind the trading post and what they do and don't want to do. Talking about the items that they want to include. They really don't want to take items that required a great deal of effort. They specifically cite the Reigns of the Black Proto-Drake. If you were around in the Wrath era, you know what that is. But that was one very few people got, because you had to get to that very early on in, I want to say it was the first tier of raiding in Wrath of the Lich King. So it's been, more than a decade that thing's been unavailable. They're trying to keep that kind of thing off the list. What they are talking about potentially are maybe color variations, color options for mounts that you already have. Maybe doing some sort of class-related sets. They mentioned and touched on the 12-month reward. So there is, looking way far ahead, if you complete the trading post challenge, the little 1,000-point challenge, if you do that every month for 12 months, not 12 months consecutively, but 12 months total, it looks like, you will be rewarded with the ensemble of the burden of unrelenting justice. It's basically the night elf sentinel gear, the one that we've seen, God, for forever. The green and gold with kind of like the cool ears going back, and Maev wore this gear many moons ago, right? That's kind of set is something that they're looking at having, as we go down the road. And that set, they also did confirm everybody can use. It's not just for night elves or something like that. That everybody will be able to use that. That they're looking at those kinds of items to add in. They're also worried about balancing the costs, because you have to make judgment calls about, okay, well, I'm only got so many points this month. I'm going to spend it on this, that, or the other thing. You do have one slot that you can hold on to something, carry it over in the UI if you want to. But I appreciate that they're looking at this and going, well, this is something that we are requiring too much of the players, or are they, is the right amount of currency available? Do you feel like you're missing out? FOMO was something that they want to be cognizant of. And I will tell you, as somebody who's not chasing this super hard, I'm already at like 750 out of 1,000 points, and I've got several weeks to go. I think I've got like 19 more days or something like that. And all I'm doing is raiding and just doing some, questing and activities here and there. It's not a lot, and I'm already just about completed. So I think they're hitting just about the right pace, the right amount of challenge at this point. And again, looking at the list of items that are available, there's a lot of it that I don't really care about. The pirate thing, not my deal. I'm sure, Allie, that was the first thing you bought. But honestly, I can let that go. Not a problem for me. The Warhammer, I think it was the Squire's Warhammer. I bought it. Am I going to transmog into it? Maybe. Maybe it's kind of like a cool two-handed paladin sort of thing. The Risk Corsage, no, I don't think I'm going to be buying that, but I think it's great that somebody can. So, overall, early impressions, it probably came out a little too early. It probably needed a little bit more time, but in the end, I don't think anybody's going to really remember that. Let's talk about it let's see, it's February now. I don't know, let's come June. They've worked out some of the kinks. I think people are just going to look forward to what's coming the next month. Hey, is there anything here that I'm interested in? Oh, that's really cool. There's a pet, or there's like a mount tinge or something. Recycled content. There'll be, some stuff. All right, cool. And then you move on with your life. And it'll just be part of the fabric of the game, almost like it always has been. And I think that'll be really fun. And I look forward to what's coming up next month. And hopefully we will find out soon. I want to retrace some of my steps here. Go back, perhaps just a touch to some I don't want to say here, to an item, a quest line perhaps that didn't come with 10.05. This came before, but it was something that I only finally got to recently. It tells you how far behind I am on my leveling with each of the factions, but I wanted to touch on the Silver Purpose quest line that you get when you reach level 12 with the Valdrakken Accord. And it focuses on this mystery regarding Tyr, who was an ancient Titan watcher. He's one of these legends of old, right? That's always been around in World of Warcraft. Tirisfal, right? Let's go back to Tirisfal. Tirisfal, we've talked about this before, is named after Tyr because that's where Tyr was killed or died in battle. There was the giant hand, right? Tyr went out there where Tirisfal is now to fight Loken. So, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm going to leave a lot of that to Live, Laugh, Lore and the other folks. Battle Loken and his old god forces, and he sacrificed himself essentially to defeat them. His silver hand was there, so they dug it up, and there's a silver hand out there. That's who the silver hand, right? The paladins, that's who they named it after, right? There's all this back history. But Tyr is tied, we know, to the Dragon Isles, Tyr Hold, right? When we came in, people were like, oh, is that Tyr? Like, no, Tyr blew himself up on another continent, so that can't be Tyr at the top of Tyr Hold. But there's that connection there. And once you reach level 12 with a Valdrakken Accord, you receive a summons from your little flappy guy. Tells you to go talk to Alexstrasza. And Alexstrasza talks to you about there's this gift from Tyr. It's this silver dragon scale. It's this pure silver ingot shaped in the dragon scale, and we've kept it sacred and dear from our friend. And now it's doing shit. It's vibrating. It's got energy, and it's awake. And we got to figure out what's going on with it because it's probably important. So get paired up with your buddy, Stony Tony. I don't even know what his real name is anymore. Watcher Keranos. Stony Tony. And you have to head over to Tyr Hold and see if you can make sense of what is going on with this gift of Tyr. And while you're over there, there's a variety of little questy things that you got to do. You got to get some energy here, and you got to do this thing here. Over there and get this maiden and that maiden. There's some of the lesser kind of stuff that you got to do in there, but a couple of items that really piqued my interest. One was when you have to make contact with these consoles that are around Tyr hold. And I have to give credit. This is where I'm really starting to enjoy the continuance of what this current creative team is doing, is as you make your way around these consoles, you're getting these little bits of lore, these little statements that are broken up intentionally, of course, to drive you crazy. But things like the dragons shall be caretakers for the future of Azeroth. Odin refuses to see. Azeroth must take. Lokans must be punished. Unforgivable. Shadows rising in that. Too great. Ulduar. Infested by its own prisoner. You know, it's stuff like that. And then the very last one. The records must be kept safe. Must be preserved for when? Ah, they don't tell us. So, I love these little lore bombs that they drop. I love these little, these little things that, if you're a newer player to World of Warcraft, you probably don't know that much about Tyr's history. He's a guy, okay, we're talking to him, what's going on? And it's a great opportunity to go back and kind of look at what came before and why Tyr is so important. But it turns out, at the end of the quest, to get to the point, we're essentially resurrecting Tyr himself after going through the last bit of the quest line. We have to go into the dungeon and get some silver ingots, and we throw them into the forge there at Tyr hold, and it gets rolling. And sure enough, a brand new Tyr body comes out of the molten slag there and gets deposited right in front of us. But it's just a shell. It's just an empty body. There's no soul or brain or spirit or whatever you want to call it. There's nothing in it to control it. It's just an automaton. It's just standing there. And so that then ties us back to, if you'll recall, back in the pre-patch where we had to go in Uldaman, and there were those discs there, and the discs that we needed, I thought they were destroyed. Apparently they're not. They were just cast into the time ways. And now we need to get those, or some version of them, to get his personality back, because apparently Tyr's personality was on those discs. And to bring him back into the fold, and assuming, I guess, his power that's needed for this moment because it's so important, we got to figure it out. Of course, they didn't tell us what that means yet. That's that next breadcrumb of where we're going. But is it him? Is it a copy of him? I mean, this is where we start to get into some weird philosophical stuff. Is it a copy? If a copy is a copy, is it really him? Does he know he's a copy? I probably can't get too deep into it because then my brain will freeze up. But nonetheless, we are trying to resurrect Tyr, which is fantastic. Number one, because the model that they created for him is phenomenal. It was in the art book for the collector's edition, but seeing it there in game was pretty sweet. And two, it adds kind of this epic element that I love. Here is one of these ancient, fabled Titan Watchers, and it's standing right there. We're bringing him back, and I guess he's going to help us kick some old dragon ass. I assume that's what's going on. But I love what the writing team, the creative team, is doing with this. To the point of all of this. This lore has been around. Stuff with Tyr. We've known about Tyr. Tyr's been around since pretty much all of Warcraft. But really diving in to that character, grabbing that character out and making more of it and tying it to the current times. This is the kind of stuff that I think they have been really successful with so far. We kind of said goodbye. We did, saying goodbye to the Arthas era, the Warcraft 3 era of World of Warcraft and Warcraft in general. And now we have to come to, something else, a newer era. And I think this is a great blueprint for how they do it. And I'm really excited to see what's coming next. This is a character that I don't know well, but I'm invested in because of sort of the epic scale on which they exist. It doesn't have to be cosmic all the time, right? But to have those characters plucked out and like, oh shit, now we're going to do something that's really fun. And to see this writing team make this their own, I'm very excited by that. And it was great to see that quest line. I knew something was coming. I'd seen other people talk about it, but I managed to avoid it. And I'm glad that I did. to see that first, because I had no idea. And so when the body of Tyr comes rising up out of that forge, I was like, oh shit, it's the guy. I've seen this guy. He was in an art book. It's the dude. That was fun. Those are the moments I live for. Those are the moments I play for. And I hope that you got at least a little bit excited yourself when you played through that. Or if you haven't, sorry, spoiler alert. But it's been out for a bit and I feel like I'm behind. So I think I think I'm safe to do it. But these are the moments that I'm looking for. And this is giving me, again, continued confidence in how this expansion is going to play out and the way that they are going to treat the material, and how they're going to treat it with respect, but add something new, fun, interesting, and something that makes sense. Like, I can believe that a Titan Watcher would have created some sort of insurance policy where you are able to reforge them or bring them back or whatever it is. Now, the flip side is that, maybe we bring him back and he's bad or corrupted, and then we got to fight him, and it wouldn't be the first time. We'll cleanse him from his corruption, bring him back. But having a Titan Watcher fight alongside us against some ancient primal dragons, that's a badass matchup. Put that on a UFC card. I'll watch it. I think that's fantastic. So that's what's, partly what's leading us into the next chapter, whatever that looks like. And I'm really excited to see it. So on that note, let's talk about 10.0.7 for a minute here, because shortly after 10.05 went live, right now we got 10.07 already on the PTR, just as they promised. The content keeps on rolling. There's a couple items here that I felt were worth mentioning. And for the first one, I want to go back to the live show that Ali and I just did. And I want to play this clip for you in regards to the human heritage armor. I mean, it's been thrown in my face a few times that Varian was essentially dusted. So it's not like I could get a lot of his armor, but his shoulder armor, as far as I know, is still out there somewhere in the ocean. So it would be amazing if we got sent back out there to retrieve
get his man.
the shoulders
Ooh.
of Varian Rin, and then have, some other armor kind of filling in the gaps there. But that
would be
to
pretty
me,
awesome.
I'd never take that off. I wouldn't.
That'd be cool.
I wouldn't ever take that off. That would be the only armor I would ever wear for the rest of the time that I play World of Warcraft. Do I think that's what it is? It's probably not. Well. After that, we got our first published image of the human heritage armor. And what do I see but a shoulder? The eagle shoulder that looks just like Varian Rin's eagle shoulder armor. And a belt. Not the same, but a belt that looks very reminiscent of Varian's armor. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to see what they've shown us so far. Now, I will note that at least on the image that they have shown us, the eagle shoulder is on the wrong shoulder. Varian's was on the right. The one they're showing here is on the left. So probably not like the shoulder armor. Like, you're not actually wearing Varian's armor, but if it's a tribute or it's based on it or something like that, I will absolutely take it. You can do one shoulder transmog now, and you could use the lion's head from the War Fronts, which I never got that one, and God, I don't know how I'm gonna get it now, but you could mix and match to make it work. But overall, very, very happy with how this one turned out. Very happy with how this one turned out. I know that it's early, that they have to, finish it up and finalize it. We don't know. I haven't seen anything about the quest line yet. Maybe, they could use some little, if you look at Varian's armor, it has like little tufts, like little fur tufts Come around it. I think that would be a nice detail to add. The helmet, I got to see more of the helmet. The helmet is the one thing I'm like, it looks pretty cool, but the little like nubs on the top, I don't know about that one. The rest of it, fantastic. I'm very happy. I'm sure, Orc folk, I'm sure you're very happy about yours too, because why not? It's great. It's so on brand. How could you not? But very happy to see that so far, and I can't wait to play through that campaign. I am going to avoid as much as I can. Try to give you my not live reaction. I'm not going to do it while I'm playing, but try to give you as genuine a reaction as I can when I finally do it. I'll try to take good notes. But 1007 shaping up really, really good right there. They also did show there are some color variations, it looks like, of the armor for the human armor. It's the Lion's Heritage armor set. So again, I mean, this is probably straight up variant. There are some color variations for that one, as well as with the Orc Heritage armor. They're calling the Wolf's Heritage Warsong armor set, which, yeah, that makes sense to me. The Warsong, well, there's Warsong, Frostwolf, and Blackrock apparently are the color options. It's pretty cool. Don't play an orc, but that's pretty cool. Again, transmog. Everybody loves transmog. Keep blowing up that transmog. Yes, but overall, very happy. Very happy. Lion's Heritage. I hope that maybe it has. It's probably still too early for Anduin to make a comeback, but it might not be a bad spot for Anduin to make a comeback and say, hey, looks like you're wearing my dad's stuff. That's cool. Bring him back to classics. Obviously, keep an eye on this and updates as they come. But the other thing coming out of 1007 that seems to be getting a little more press is a new gear system. It seems to be perhaps a singular item, but one that is drawing controversy already. Looking across all of my feeds, everybody had a video or a comment or something about it. And that is the Primordial Stone system that is coming in patch 1007. People concerned, oh my God, it's borrowed power. They said they weren't going to do this. It's another fucking Heart of Hazaroth. I mean, what's the other one? Domination shards. Oh no. I don't know about that. Blizzard put out a post. Thank God. They put out a post talking about how in patch 1007, we're going to unlock something called the Zskera Vaults, or the Skera Vaults. It's Zskera, so they're going to tell me how to say that. The Skera Vaults, which is solo content, and you'll go into this dungeon and you'll do some puzzles, and through it, you're going to acquire something called the Onyx Annulet Ring. And in this ring, it looked like there were 3 sockets. And in those sockets, you are going to put a primordial stone. And each one of those stones will have some, as they call it, a trinket-like effect. And they will do different things depending on, I guess, where you find them. I suppose they'll, have a greater or lesser effect. But the comments that they have here are that you will get keys that you will receive from rares and chests across the Forbidden Reach. Because remember, going back there. And it'll give you access to the vaults. The keys will be bind on account, so you can get your alts into them if you want to. You'll be able to crush your primordial stones into fragments, which can be repurposed into an item to upgrade your favorite stones for your local jewel crafter. So jewel crafters, get your shit. Oh wait, I'm a jewel crafter. Well, I better start working on that. You can use these fragments to purchase newer stones from researcher Imareth. Well, you can't buy specific stones. They come in families to be able to target the stones you want. And primordial stones can be unsocketed from the annulet. And being able to upgrade your favorite stones will also increase the item level of the ring up to 424. Pretty big. So The last comment that they make, I think, might be the most important, which is that given the maximum item level, 424, they expect that you will replace it with something better in Season 2, which is, I guess, patch 10.1. So while there is concern, and I understand because I think we've all been pretty happy not having to deal with borrowed power stuff, I don't think it's quite the same thing. And has been and the points that have been made elsewhere, I think, are the right ones, which is that this feels to me more like a catch-up mechanic at the end of a patch when you're struggling. And maybe that's my experience because of the raid teams I've been on my entire life in World of Warcraft. But to me, this feels like when we had way back in ICC, there was a buff that gradually rose over time later on as the patch went. Or, you know, we've had cloaks and we've had different things over the years, right, that give us more power at the end of a patch to try to help clear something. And very proud of my raid team, Salad Senate. We just cleared on normal. Razageth, great fight. Love having that, was that Grim Torch or whatever that thing is? What a great trinket. Best trinket of all time. Heroic has been a challenge. It's been right at our speed, right? I think we've got one boss down so far, with what, 7 more to go. We may need that help, a group like us. Others, it may not matter as much. For the folks that are super hardcore, they've already cleared it. You know, maybe on Mythic, maybe there's some boost on Mythic that'll help you get through the last dregs of the Mythic push that you're trying to do. But to me, this screams as an assist for teams and players like myself who need a leg up, or depending on the abilities that these stones have, it might just be something that's more fun. It might just be something that, like, hey, this is a new way to kind of shake things up or keep things interesting. And I'm open to that. You know, I like a fun trinket kind of thing, as long as it isn't too cumbersome. I'll give you an example. I have that Grief Torch. That's what it's called, the Grief Torch. And as a warrior, a Fury warrior, right, having to stand still and not do anything for 2 seconds while this thing is casting and launching and doing its business, sometimes that's a little rough. You know, you learn how to pick your spots and this and that. But then I have another trinket where you have to, like, it locks you into place. Like, you cannot physically move for however many seconds it is. And while I think the DPS at the beginning is great, not being able to move just ended up killing me a bunch of times. Sorry, Barian. And I buried it. I'm like, well, I can't use this. So having some variety, I think, is great, because interspersed in there, it's going to change up that gameplay. It's going to keep things interesting. Maybe that's not your style. You need something to be, this is how it is every single time. I need that kind of consistency in order to help clear the thing or do whatever I'm doing. And I like this attempt. When Domination Shards came out, I wasn't shitting all over them. I thought it was an interesting attempt to do something new. And it flopped. And people hated it. So I may not be the best source in terms of being, a good judge of whether or not this is a good idea or a bad idea. But I don't think this is a bad idea. I think there are some people who are going to be forced into perfect setups, and you have to, I got to go after this one specific, if they're talking about families, so you can target a certain stone, like, these are the 3 stones I have to have, and people are going to drive themselves crazy trying to get them. I mean, if that's the style of gameplay that you want to have, go with God. Enjoy yourself, knock yourselves out. But I think for the majority of us, that's not going to be an issue, and I'm okay with it. I think it'll be fun, a fun addition, something new, something different. And if nothing else, a nice boost, 424 item level on that. Hell yeah. I'll take that. I'll take that every time. So more questing to come. More of that PTR is going to come out, and people will judge for themselves whether or not this is a good idea or a bad idea. Seeing some of the abilities that are going to come with these stones, I think that will also color people's perceptions. But I'll keep an open mind for now. And as always, if you have access to the PTR, go on there, check it out, and give your feedback. Moving on to something a little bit more, a little different, I would say, is my personal Lord and Savior, although he would probably hate it if you ever heard me say that. Chris Metzen, the former senior vice president of story and franchise development at Blizzard Entertainment, recently sat down for an interview with Wowhead. So congratulations. First off, just congratulations to Wowhead, because you've scored an interview that I might give my left nut for. Maybe half a nut. I don't know. I would give a lot to sit down with Chris Metzen and hash things out with him. But they got a chance to sit down with him, and what I found interesting was that they really didn't talk about World of Warcraft. It really didn't talk about Blizzard much at all. Most of the interview, or at least this portion of the interview that they released, maybe they did more, was talking about founding his War Chief gaming company, his tabletop role-playing company. The first game under that banner that they released, Ouroboros. The source book that they wrote, World Book Lawbrand. And a novel that he worked with Mickey Nielsen, who was a longtime Blizzard writer, wrote a book called Under the Sun, and it's available as an audiobook written by Chris Metzen himself. Copper, if you're listening to this episode, I want you to listen to what I just said. This is Chris Metzen reading a book to you. Reading a book to you. You know what? I'm going to do this because I got this right here on air. It's live. I don't know how much an audiobook is. It's telling me I can get Audible for free. Anyway, whatever the cost of that book is, let's say it's $10, $15, $20 even. You can have Chris Metzen read this book to you himself. I think you should take that on. Anyway, Chris Metzen sat down for this interview, and they talked a lot about how he came to create all this and where it came from, some of his influences into creating this whole world, this Lawbrand world, and some of the people that he worked with. But there was a quote that I wanted to focus on just because it just made me really happy. Again, I'm so happy that he's back. But one of the things that they asked him about was whether or not the Ouroboros game could be turned into a video game at some point. Because listen, with World of Warcraft and its D&D-esque origins, right? It's a question that makes sense to ask. And here is what he had to say about that. I daydreamed about it a couple of years ago. Now that I am back alongside Blizzard again, I think I wouldn't chase that idea. If I'm thinking about video games at all, I want to make sure I'm focused on Blizzard. Maybe there will be a licensing opportunities or something at the end of the day. But that is not where my head is today. I want to make good on my commitment to Blizzard. And I don't think I'd ever make video games anywhere else than Blizzard. I'll be honest. That quote made me happier than it probably should have. I'm sure that was just some, not off the cuff, but I don't know if anyone else feels the same way that I do about him coming back, and that creative juice and that stability that I feel with him around, just even psychologically. But knowing that he's here and that he's back and that he is focused and wants to make games with Blizzard again. That's really big to me. And it's something that I feel, his presence is something that I feel has been missing. I'm very excited, like I mentioned earlier, about the writing team and what they've been doing. But there is something in my mind, because maybe it's because of my age or how long I played Blizzard games, but there's just something that's been missing. And some people call it the Metzen magic. I don't know if that's necessarily what it is, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't think that was be a part of it. And so to hear him say that this is his focus and this is where he wants to be, even while he's pimping out his other stuff, I'm pretty happy about that. So if you haven't checked it out, it's a good interview. It gives you a great deal of insight into, what he was up to during the intervening years, because he's gone from Blizzard for 6 years. And working on this, see some of his art, his personally drawn characters from his own D&D games. It's pretty cool. So check it out. It's on Wowhead. It's just Chris Metzen interview, developing Ouroboros, Coils of the Serpent. And speaking of Blizzard, they just celebrated their 32nd anniversary, this 32nd birthday, whatever you want to call it. And, 32. I thought 32 was a pretty good year in my life. A lot of stuff happened. I think I bought a house that year. It was pretty good. But way back, February 8th, 1991, Silicon and Synapse was founded. That was the original Blizzard name. And if you haven't had a chance yet alongside this to watch this yet, is that Samwise Didier, senior art director, who we all know and love, and whose art I have, his actual drawn art, I have it here in the room where I now sit and speak. He put out a great video on his YouTube channel, which if you've never been to his YouTube channel, he doesn't post a whole hell of a lot, but it is pretty fun to watch him draw and go through his process and all that. But he put out about a 10, 12-minute video where he talks about basically his history with Blizzard and how he got his job, going from, movie theater guy to establishing the art style of one of the greatest game publishers of all time. A lot about the old days. And while he's talking about it, you can watch him draw an orc and Diablo and oh my God, I don't know who that is from StarCraft, but it's a Protoss. I'm not sure. I can't remember which character that is. God forgive me. But there you go. A great little video that if you haven't had the chance to watch, I highly encourage it. It's always fun listening to Samwise. He's been around a long time. He's a great storyteller. I talk about here from time to time. He also does metal band art. He works with Hammerfall. He works with Amon Amarth, which just still blows me away to this day that he works with those bands, but he does. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go out to his YouTube channel. It's ABC with Samwise, and there's some fun stuff on there. So check it out, and happy anniversary to Blizzard. Hope you keep cleaning shit up, and then stick around. Let's make that sale to Microsoft work. Having some problems, but we'll talk about that another time. Last but not least, mentioned that love is in the air, and yes, we are in the thick of it. We're in the thick of the Love is in the Air 2023. That is currently going on, and that runs from the 6th of February, so now a week old, into the 20th of February, so still another week left to go. I know you are all out there feverishly running your mains and your alts to get your your X45 Heartbreaker mount, because we don't talk about the Love Rock, the other mount name. It's the X45 Heartbreaker, which still has an incredibly low drop rate, and I feel like somebody said at one point they were going to change that. Maybe they are going to next year. Maybe they did. People are still just unlucky. But now is your chance. So get out there, run your alts. It's a very popular mount, but it's also very hard to come by. There are some other activities and daily quests and stuff like that if you are so interested. So good luck out there. Happy hunting, and I hope you all enjoy your Love is in the Air 2023. All right. I think I've done enough damage for one episode. My thanks to all of you for listening. And remember, you can always follow me and this show on Twitter at Berzerker Rage and Unshackled_Fury, as well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury, and for myself, Real Berzerker. You can also join our Discord, links for which are in the profile of the show on Twitter and on our bonus roll page. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources or on shackledfury.com. And you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.